And we are live.
Hey, AJ, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's up?
So, for those of you who I know AJ doesn't like when I do this, when I address the audience, he thinks we should be completely organic and natural. I disagree. I think we need to at least let people know. Can you straighten out your monitor? It's so cockeyed.
Is
It
it
makes me
distracting
want to
you?
throw up. Yeah, it needs to be like no, level. Or is it the table that's so
It's
far
probably
off?
the table.
All right, okay, I'll live with it.
And I'm just going to adjust your camera to
Okay,
more center.
so welcome. I wish I could see myself on the camera. That would actually help me a little bit, but I can't. Um, Welcome everybody to our podcast. It's called Rubbing the Rhubarb. Wow, that's actually awesome. But turn it around. I want you to see yourself. That looks great. I only look like I'm 92 in that instead of my real age, which is 37. So
Got some hair and makeup next time.
dude, something, right? So for the AJ doesn't like when I do this, but I want to welcome everybody to our podcast that we created called Rubbing the Rhubarb.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers, bro. What are you drinking?
Got some bourbon.
Got some bourbon.
What do you have there, some IPA?
I'm drinking an IPA called Sea Dragon from a microbrewery in beautiful downtown Asbury Park, New Jersey, called Asbury Park Brewery. Believe it or not, isn't that wild? And the name of the beer that I'm drinking is called Sea Dragon. It's a pretty heavy IPA, pretty high alcohol content, and I didn't even know this, but they have a rating for. There's a rating on actually how hoppy it is. It's not on this can.
They have a scale.
They have a scale, and the shirt I have on today is called Arrog. You know, it's from a brewery called Stone, a California brewery, and they have one of the highest ratings. And it's Arrogant Bastard. It's actually one of my absolute favorite IPAs. But anyway, I wanted to welcome everybody to the podcast called Rubbing the Rhubarb. So, welcome.
We rub till it's raw here, right?
Dude, now you're going to make me say corny jokes like I'm going to...
You can get it out of your system.
All right, I'm going to rub it till it bleeds. I'm going to rub it like it owes me money. I'm going to rub it like I've never seen it before, but...
People should know what to expect.
Well, that's what they're going to expect. They're going to expect stupid guy jokes. And today it's just me and you. This is our third podcast. The first two, I thought the first one was horrible. I thought the second one was fabulous.
The first one is always going to be terrible.
Well, you know
It's
what?
like the first time you ever, did anything.
All right, thank you for cleaning.
The first
that.
time you rubbed the rhubarb, I'm sure was not
why
as successful.
Again, why do you got to make it so flipping dirty? Why can't you just, So, do we want to explain where rubbing the rhubarb came from, or no?
Yeah, let's explain it for those that weren't on the watch along last night.
Okay, so in the in the Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Batman, there was a star named Jack Nicholson.
Something interesting that came up last night while we were watching this movie is that Nicholson's name comes up first in the opening credits. So does that
over Michael Keaton?
Yeah. Does
really?
that technically make him the lead? That's something we actually
Dude,
talked
you
about.
gotta understand something.
That must have been a big coup to get him, right?
Bro, back then, right?
And Keaton was
I'm
a
old.
comedian.
You were a baby.
I was 4.
You were a baby. First of all, it was groundbreaking on a number of different levels. And I will tell you, I don't want this to sound racist, but I grew up in a super varied environment.
Well, you grew up in a city that became a shithole, but while you were a kid, it was probably turning into a shithole.
It was turning into a shithole. But you had
it wasn't full shithole. Like it is now.
No, but a lot of I guess they're not minorities now, but they were I guess considered minorities then. Dude, they could not wait for this fucking movie to come out, this Batman movie, right? And it was huge. And like I remember a lot of my friends are Hispanic, and they were like freaking out over this movie coming out. And I'm like, all right, okay, it's a Batman movie.
Now, what about it? Or are you going to get to that?
About what?
What about it was making them freak out?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly why they were so into Batman, but they were. But the other wild thing is, you had Jack Nicholson, who was a huge star, right? He was a classic golden age Hollywood star. What does that mean? A guy who's got a pedigree of great movies. I can only name 10, but let's look in the 70s. Bob Evans movie called Chinatown, where he absolutely destroyed the role. He was unbelievable as Jake Giddy's private detective in the movie Chinatown. And nobody really did like a really great live action superhero movie. And Tim Burton was not well known. Nobody knew him. I mean, now you know him from.
So is it safe to say Beetlejuice was his first big hit? Because that was right before Batman.
Beetlejuice, yeah, you're 100% right. Beetlejuice was a super big hit, right? But people didn't recognize his genre, right? His dark, weird genre. Edward Scissorhands, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. That whole flavor of weird and dark. But the Batman movie was still comic booky. But to get a star, it would almost be like, let's say, getting Brad Pitt to be the Riddler in the next Batman movie. But it was groundbreaking in the aspect that nobody had ever done anything like that before, right? And to add sauce to the goose, you had Michael Keaton, who was, Mr. Mom. He was
known more of a comedian,
yeah.
Right, prior to that.
Well, not a comedian. He was known as a funny...
comedic actor.
Comedic actor,
yeah.
Right? So for him to do something dark and foreboding like Batman was just unbelievable. So you have Jack Nicholson, and he does this. And I stole this line from him, and I will tell you that nobody, whenever I say it, they're like, Giorgio, you're just disgusting. And I do it for shock value. But when I say, never rub another man's rhubarb, nobody gets it. Nobody gets it from the movie. And, maybe now from our podcast they'll get it. So that's why we call it rubbing the rhubarb. Because it's just bullshitting, talking. But it was a great movie and a great little line. That's one of the things that I do. I steal little lines from movies and make them my own. And people think I'm super original, and I'm just super dopey.
Well, another thing that came up, too, last night, it's entirely possible that Nicholson doing The Shining and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest made him the perfect candidate for this role. Probably gave him the acting chops to take his own spin on the Joker and make it what it was.
I'm going to fight with you. I think, he goes way back into I remember watching him in a dopey Boris Karloff movie where he had like a, not even a supporting role, and then he did Easy Rider, and did he do Easy Rider? Yeah, he was in Easy Rider, and a couple of other movies. So, he's been around forever, right? So, and for him to do that was groundbreaking. But I want to pivot for a second. Do you feel this is more, this podcast that we're doing right now, you think it's more organic and natural than...
Yeah, this is...
Is this kind of what you had in your mind?
This is the format. Now, what I did want to tell you, if you have topics you want to talk about, and you want to do a show like that, we can certainly do that too. But I think that's a different concept from sort of the rubbing the rhubarb, shooting the shit, let it kind of flow, be yourself.
So let me ask you this, though. There's, we talked about, we were sitting up on the deck having a cigar, which I'm going to light up in a second. We talked about, different things like, doing skits and funny stuff. I mean, are we still going to do that? Or
yeah,
we going to say, are you going to stay like what we're doing right now, just natural conversation?
I think that's a different thing. So I think we should do that, and it should be on the Rubbing the Rhubarb channel on YouTube. But I just don't think that's the podcast. I think this is the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know if we can fill a whole podcast with skits, though. You know what I mean?
Right, but that's why it wouldn't be a podcast. That's why.
What is it going to be? It's going to be like...
It's going to be Rubbing the Rhubarb presents whatever.
Oh, all right. Because you know what they do? I do like on YouTube when they do quick shots of Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not long. They're like, they do some like YouTube Robot Chicken things are 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah,
is that what you're thinking?
I think of Rubbing the Rhubarb. I think of Rubbing the Rhubarb as almost its own miniature network for now at this level.
Well, then, what about when you do rubbing? And I'm not going to say that I'm not jealous because I am. That when you do rubbing the rhubarb, and you're either by yourself or you have other guests that you're doing it with. I'm a little freaked out by that.
Well, the way I look at it is we just started doing this 10 days ago.
Right.
And I think we need to get the chops, and I think we need to get our podcasting legs and feet underneath us, and I think we need repetitions like in a gym or anything else.
All right. I'm not going to fight with you on that, but if you watch any episodic television, let's pick something like Star Trek: The Next Generation, or let's pick better yet for people that aren't geeks, let's pick The King of Queens. It took them like a year to get into the groove of who the characters were. And sometimes we're going to be playing characters like you're not going to get my real name on this thing. So, again, I'm going to be going by Rufus T. Firefly. So,
and at the same time, they have to draw enough people to actually watch the thing for it to even stay on the air to make it to year 2. Whereas we don't have that problem though. We could get 20 viewers a week from 4 podcasts, but we can grind.
If we got 20 viewers a week, I would be insanely thrilled with that.
Now, last night we had 18 viewers, maybe 3.
You had 18 live viewers?
Oh, like as of now, it's gone up to 18 views. I think I told a few friends about it. I think 2 out of the 3 tuned in live. Maybe 1 or 2 of those views are me just playing it back.
Bro, what?
But that's it. But
what about
we're not going to get a huge turnout just yet.
You know what I don't like? I don't like having to look at you over that screen. You got to figure out.
I can move the screen anywhere. I mean,
you know what maybe if you could. Should I swing around by you? Maybe that's what I should do. This way I could sit across. No. Leave that where it is. I'll swing around. I'll move my mic around, and then I could look at the computer and look at you. Because trying to look at you over the computer
so I'm
is
gonna,
like kissing a skunk.
I'm going to switch this camera here. Bear with us.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen out there.
Oh, now you're going to talk to ladies and gentlemen. When I did it, it was all shit.
Well, what do you want to call them? Jerk-offs?
No. I'm saying when I was talking to the audience, you're like, don't do that. But when you talk to the audience, it's awesome. Okay, great. Hold on. Let me bring my mic back. Ow. That hit me right in the head.
All right.
I don't know if this is going to work like this. Can I twist? This does not
Yeah,
work.
you can just turn the microphone. Rotate the mic.
What do you mean? This?
Yeah.
I'm going to break it if I do
No,
that.
just you could spin it, look, like this.
It's not spinning. I'm going to break. What has that got to do with anything? That's great. I
so it
can
can
spin
face
it.
Yeah.
But I need it to come, more like that. Can you hear me okay? Does this sound all right?
Yeah, well, now it's not in front of your face, so I can hear you through one ear.
Oy vey. Oh, I see what you're saying. Do it like that.
Yeah, like rotate it.
Okay. All right. Watch your mouth. You're talking to your uncle here.
Rotate it, rub it,
All right. Let me get my cigar over here.
and we'll steady the cam.
I think you need to put the camera over there.
All right.
Sorry, guys. I know it's super boring for people who,
This is like a live scrimmage, you know?
who want to, get that delicious content.
There you go.
I think that's. Oh wow, that's incredible actually. All right. Okay. I'm not thrilled about the microphone and the way it's set up right now.
Hey, for on the fly, it's not bad.
No, I know. I wish I could make that a little bit tighter. It would make me a little bit more comfy, wumpsy. But okay. All right. Are we good?
Yeah. I think we're in great shape.
I like the idea that we can drink an adult beverage and nobody's going to give us any static.
Well, we're adults. Have an adult time. So, Nicholson.
Yeah, so I thought we were kind of killed at. What else do you want to say about Nicholson?
Where has he been? Did he retire?
Dude, he's fucking 9,000 years old. What do you want this poor guy to do? You know what I mean? I mean, he's an old dude. He's got to be like fucking 90, right? I mean, how old is he? What do you think he is?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around certainly since before I was born. But the thing with Nicholson too, it's a little disappointing that Keaton coming back to reprise his role as Batman for the Flash movie,
Right.
that there's no way to bring Joker back
That's bullshit.
he gets annihilated.
That's bullshit.
At the end.
That's bullshit. You can't bring back Jack Nicholson, Jack
Well,
Napier.
yeah,
You
right.
can't bring
Well, that's what I meant.
Jack
Yeah.
Napier back, but you can bring back the Joker character.
There's probably, in all likelihood, like a copycat Joker or
Right.
like a new joke. Right, yeah.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
But
They're
if
not
Tim
gonna-
Burton has a hand in designing that, that'd be really cool.
It was pretty cool at the end of the movie. When I was a kid, they had those laugh bags.
Yeah,
that
right,
was
yeah.
actually very popular when I was a kid. When and I'm not going to give away my age because then somebody will track me down. But I will tell you what, dude. Those laugh bags were like a big thing. Like everybody had one. So that at the end of the movie, that was not a like an unknown thing. Like when you were a kid, were you like, what the fuck was that?
Well, to your point, I grew up with them as well
I don't remember
because
those.
that was a thing. They were a thing.
The laugh bag was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, not. It's certainly probably not a thing now. But I'll tell you that creeped me the fuck out as a kid. For watching that as a 5-year-old,
Right,
it's kind of fucking eerie.
bro. Were you gonna talk about the NFL at all?
Yeah. We talked about it. We touched on it last night. So I went out and I watched the game the other night. So my whole thing is, I really don't want to contribute to giving them ratings. I'm on YouTube TV, so unlike regular cable, anything you watch on YouTube TV will actually reflect on the ratings. They have like a built-in Nielsen kind of deal.
So what are you saying?
So if I go to a restaurant that happens to be showing the NFL, they're going to show it whether I'm there or not. So if it happens to be on while I happen to be somewhere. So
I don't know, dude.
My whole take on it.
So here's my question for you. You're Mr. Fucking Football, right? So let's try to keep this podcast so nobody gets fired, right? So I'm going to be politically correct here. And I'm going to step back and say, my only question is this. How did sports, let's pick on football, how did sports become so politically charged? I don't get that. You if you were an actor and you were on Broadway and you're in Cats and you decide in the middle of your performance that you're going to, let's say, free Peruvians from the Peruvian dictator, people would be like, "What the fuck? What are you doing?" So how did football? How is it okay in football? You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Or you understand what my ask
it started out as a stunt for attention from Kaepernick because he never took a knee as a starter. He only ever took a knee when he wasn't playing.
No, bro, you're missing the point. Don't make it about Kaepernick. It's not about Kaepernick.
But before that, it wasn't to this level.
How do they and when did football become so liberalized where, like, when you salute the flag or you genuflect for the you stand for the flag, or you support the armed forces, all of a sudden that's like a negative thing. I don't that's my question to you.
I think a lot of them will tell you that they don't offend the military. A lot of them will say that they spoke with veterans that are not offended, and they're
Yes, both of them.
Just because there's veterans that are not offended doesn't mean that
Why
there's veterans that aren't offended either.
Yeah, but
or are offended.
Dude, your grandfather and my father, got blown up in Korea. My wife's father got blown up in World War II, right? And so we have like a visceral emotional connection to that. One of my big regrets is not serving, but that my dad,
we had a little interference with
talked
that.
me out of that
Yeah.
one, right? Hey, dude, you know what might work is like I'm looking at you, right? But the camera, I think next time we do this, my camera should be over
They
there.
should cross.
Right.
Yeah.
So when
That's
I'm
what,
looking,
that's what we did last night.
right? Because
Yeah.
look at the way how it looks right now. You see the size of my. By the way, your uncle, right? Look at the size of my gigantic pumpkin head. My head is could it be any bigger? Is my head abnormally big?
There's a whole theory that they talk about on Entourage that the bigger the head, the bigger the star. So
Really?
Probably a
I'm
good
not
sign.
buying it. I'm not buying it.
Well, I even think Jack Nicholson came up in that the guy in the Entourage for the Star was making all these comparisons, and I think one of the names he dropped was actually Nicholson.
Dude,
I think Nicholson might have a big cranium.
just check out my forehead, and my hairline has stayed that way since, I don't know, 1978. My hairline's always been there, and it hasn't moved, which is awesome, right? I mean, I actually have a great head of hair for an old fuck,
For any adult.
right? I mean,
Mine started going. My dad was making fun of me about my thinning hair when I was 21.
hey, AJ, what happened to your hair?
So, for everybody out there in YouTube land, my father was an electrical contractor, so I would work for him over the summers in between school years. And I was 21. We were doing a project over in residential in Livingston, and it was August or July or whatever, and I was sweaty, and my dad just goes, "I see a lot of dome up there, son."
Son, I see a lot of dome up there. A lot of dome, a lot of reflecting off the sun.
And shout out to my friend Jack Tittle if he's watching. He's been trying to get me on Propecia probably since I was 19. I think he saw the problem coming and had been there himself.
Let me just say this. Kudos to you for not doing it. So if you ever decide, and I don't think you should, ever have children, that you don't fucking have deformed children. I mean,
Yeah, no, my mindset is I just work with what God gave me. I get a haircut every other week under normal conditions with
bro, you never took
yeah,
the-
I know. Yeah. Just
But
to
it's-
keep the lenses protected for now, but I don't think
Do you
it's
think
affecting
you don't think so?
I don't think
It's
it
not
affects the quality
affecting
at all.
the quality?
No, but I mean we can pull them off. It's not a
How
not a
about that
huge deal.
dog barking in the background? How great is that?
That's how good these mics are. That we're picking up a dog all the way in Bloomfield.
It's in fucking. Can you believe that?
That's got to be at least what 8 miles away.
I think it's in another country actually.
Bloomfield,
You know the best thing-
Bloomfield, China.
You know the best thing that came out of Bloomfield?
Humor me.
You guys know the best thing out there in the audience? Do you know the best thing that ever came out of Bloomfield, New Jersey? Actually, the best thing that ever came out of Newark, New Jersey was me doing fucking 90 on Route 280. That's the best thing that ever came out of fucking Bloomfield in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's funny. For
We're going to get a lot of
a lot of static from
lot of
from
the
negative, Bloomfield and Norfolk.
a lot of negative fan mail
Yeah.
on. For you guys out there who are going to send in negative emails, comments about Bloomfield and Newark. Bloomfield, I get it. But you really haven't lived until you've had your ass kicked on a fucking regular basis living in Newark, New Jersey. Getting beat up for money, stabbed on the fucking bus, knives pulled on you when you're like, 12, 13. So before any of you brown dicks out there have anything to say, and brown dick does not mean the color of your skin.
Right. It means what's on your dick.
Right. Before you have anything to say, why don't you run around Newark for about 15 minutes and tell me what it's all about? You can tell me Newark's coming back. It's on a renaissance. Sure. I had a guy. I'm not making this up.
I
bro.
bought into that bullshit actually because I went to college in Newark, and because I did architecture, we were supposed to change the city through the buildings. And
Bro, and that's fine. I get that. I think that was Blue Jays. I
Sounds
really
like it.
think that Blue Jays were like dinosaurs because they will kill you.
It's entirely possible that birds are dinosaurs. If you ever looked at their structure and
I don't think
compared
they,
it,
What do you mean? They're dinosaurs right now?
like they've evolved.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna tell me next? They lay eggs like
There's-
dinosaurs did?
Well, there's theories too that a lot of these dinosaurs had feathers that are coming out lately. I don't know if you're hip to that theory or not.
What are you, transgender? Dinosaurs had feathers.
Well, some of them. That's what they're saying.
Why are you trying to make dinosaurs flamboyant? Is that like your thing?
Well, we're
You're
trying.
so fucking sexist. It's not even funny.
We're trying to rewrite history, like we always do in this country.
It's amazing. What were we talking about before we start talking about gay dinosaurs?
The mean streets of Newark.
Yeah, I'm so totally off topic now. I can't even go back to what I was talking about. Can we rewind the tape so we can hear each other? By the way, I think this is. I've
Not
said
quite
this
yet.
about each podcast. I said this about each podcast. No more bourbon for you, by the way. Are you? Did you eat anything before you came here?
Yeah.
What did you have?
I made
Did you have an Italian hot dog?
I made a pot of my homemade famous chicken soup last night. So loaded with protein, my favorite.
Really? I bet it's loaded with fucking man protein.
2 types of protein actually.
Yeah, your upstairs neighbor and your downstairs neighbor. Is that wrong? Should I have not said that?
That's what makes it famous and homemade.
Bro, I had an unbelievable card game here last night.
Yeah, what went down?
It's so fucking racist, my card game. See, this is what I don't get, right? So there's this guy, let's just say his name is Timmy, and he's Asian. And there's this other guy named Frankie, and he's Italian. And he was talking about the first time Timmy met Frankie. Now, Timmy's Asian. He's from Taiwan. His parents are from Taiwan, right? And he was raised in Queens. And he's more fucking American than me or you, right? But he speaks Mandarin and Cantonese. And when you look at him, he looks fucking, certainly you think he's Chinese, right? So Frankie is just an unconscionable fucking ball breaker. And when Timmy, the Asian guy, met Frankie, the Italian-American guy, the first thing Frankie said was, "Oh, you deliver Chinese food over here? Oh,
Doing like a Jerky Boys impression?
Yeah, like a really shitty and Timmy goes, "Wow, you are a real fucking racist fucking asshole." And he's like, "Oh no, racist! I make the fucking railroad for you to come here." So the point being is what Frankie said to Timmy as he regaled us with his story last night is Frankie said, "And yeah, what about now?" He goes, "Well, you're my best friend." And I'm like, does that kind of tell the fucking story there? Everybody, because you're like, everybody's racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. Hate to break it to you.
A phobe.
Everybody is racist.
Well,
you kind of identify people what you see. But here's the thing. Once you get past that silliness, we're all best friends.
right.
Right? And in the card game...
But the one thing I will have a little pushback on you is when you say everybody's a little racist, I think you need we have to use a word other than racist. I know what you're saying.
All right, that's fair.
Because if you concede that everybody's a little racist...
hold on, I got the word.
There's
everybody's
everybody's
ethnocentric.
There's a group of people out there that if you give them that little...
Yeah.
Everyone's a little racist. If you give them that, they're going to take that and put a white hood on you.
Absolutely. So let's say everybody's a little ethnocentric, right? But they're like...
And some of the best jokes, one of the best shows ever in history was the Chappelle Show, and that was racial joke central.
Dude.
And it was hilarious.
Dude, say what you want about Chappelle. That guy is a funny... let's pivot for a second. Let's get this heavy racist topic.
But he makes it funny.
But I got to tell you what. I will tell you the guy who's... You could call him a racist if you want. I think he's one of the most underrated comedians, actors, entertainers out there.
Who is that?
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
People go, no, he's a big star. He's a superstar.
He's one of those guys that can do anything. He can sing. He can dance. He could do stand-up comedy.
Well, he's he
can act. Obviously,
who you're talking about. People on this podcast are going to say I'm fucked up. You know who you're describing? Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, without a doubt, a very underrated actor. So what happened with him? He had like a couple of stinkers in the early '90s. And
No. He had one stinker called Ford Fairlane. He was on the rocket sled to the stars. He had one movie that shit the bed. His first movie, Ford Fairlane. It tanked, and it tanked his fucking career. Nobody would give him another shot. Why? I don't know. Matt Damon had a ton of stinkers.
Right.
By the way, watch Behind the Candelabra. You'll know what his orientation is. Nobody can act that good. Anyway.
But back to Dice for a second. I think one thing that hurt him too.
Andrew
Silverstein.
Silverstein.
Well, I think I heard from you that when he first started, he would come up as Andrew Silverstein, and
Yeah.
Dice was a character.
Right.
And that's really what caught fire, was the character Andrew Dice Clay. And then eventually, I guess he just sort of figured out, I'm just going to be this character from now on.
Bro, I've told you this 100 times. I saw him at Nassau Coliseum literally 30 years ago. Right after Ford Fairlane came out, he sold out Nassau Coliseum.
He might have been the first comedian to sell out the Garden.
Bro, he's so super talented. He sings. He dances. He fucking
does good impressions.
Oh my God. But when he breaks out of the Andrew Dice Clay and does Andrew Silverstein, he's incredible. Do you ever think we could get him to call in?
Yeah,
And say to him, dude, we want to do a podcast.
He's done the podcast circuit, so
I would like to get him on and say,
I would think if we're still trucking a year from now, 2 years from now, I think it's entirely possible we can get a lot of people to call into the show.
Because I would, and you know what I'd love to say to him? We're not going to pull any punches. I want to talk about your career, how it evolved. You weren't Andrew Dice Clay.
A lot of people don't have the knowledge that you do about his career, so I think he would be engaged in a conversation like that.
Yeah, and you know what I would say? I would be, I think I would do a great job interviewing, because I'd be like, well, you didn't start out in fucking grammar school as Andrew Dice Clay, right? I'm sure you got inspiration from the neighborhood, just like I got inspiration from, you're created by the surroundings you're brought up. Can you talk to us a little bit about, how'd you come up with Andrew Dice Clay? How'd you come up with the limericks? But you also do these impressions and all. Was Andrew Dice, when you did Dice, was that the one that seemed to catch on, that people gravitated towards? Because, your impressions and your singing voice, absolutely incredible. And then what I'd like to do is pivot, and I say, dude, I got to give you mega kudos for telling that one interview guy to fuck off. When you were
on CNN,
on CNN, when you were
that was
starting
2003.
you're starting to get steam again, right? You're starting to do stuff, and that jerk off is like, hey, I heard you run. Yeah, no, you run a gym. Hey, motherfucker, I got about 27 different fucking investments. The gym is maybe one of them, and you're gonna break my cock and be like, oh, you just do a gym, and he was doing his best to make you sound like what you're not. And for you to stand up and go, you did it as Andrew Dice Clay, but I almost think it would be even more powerful if you did it as Andrew Silverstein and be like, you know what? You came on here in good faith to do an interview, and you're trying purposely to make me look bad. Hang on, let me open up my bag of fuck you, right?
Yeah, no, and it goes to show you how long the media's been dishonest. I'm not even going to say CNN, but just the mainstream media in general. So that guy was probably ordered to ask him that question from the top down.
You think so? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they probably said, embarrass this guy.
Bro,
Because he was going on there, I guess, to try to plug a gig or something. Or
yeah,
something
and they
he was
shit
doing.
on him.
Right.
Juice, can you do me a favor? Can you flop the screen so when I look at the computer, I'm actually looking towards you instead of I'm looking at me. There
yeah, that's so that's when
that's better.
Yeah, so when you're not on camera, it'll look like that, and then when you're on camera, it'll.
So wait a minute. When you publish the podcast, they're not going to see both screens at the same time. They're only going to see me when I'm talking.
They only see the right side. So
when I'm talking, should I be looking into the camera, talking like that? Is that more comfortable for the audience?
You could look wherever you want.
Well, no, dude. That's why I said next time I want to swap the camera. So when I'm looking towards you, like if I was looking at right now, you see where the boom is for your mic.
Yeah.
It's not horrible to look in that direction, and I think it'd be much more natural.
Yeah.
And by the way, as you would say, I don't want to keep sucking my own D, right? But So for you guys who don't know, we had some large creative disagreements over the last week or so. Actually, I think AJ had those disagreements with himself, because every time he disagreed with something, I was like, I agree with you. I think you're right. Yeah, we should do this. We should do that. We shouldn't do that. I was trying to do some skit funny stuff, and he's like, no, we need to be more organic. And I was like, okay. And he's like, no, we got to be more organic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. But so at the risk of S-ing my own D, I got to tell you what, I think this is, you're right, this is much more comfortable, much more organic.
And I think
Is this how you envisioned it, me and you shooting the shit?
yes, this is 100%.
This is it,
what
right?
I had in mind. What we're doing right now.
Hey,
It's like a tennis game. You're just bouncing the verbal ball back and forth.
I will tell you what, for you folks who, who didn't listen to the first couple of podcasts, when everybody sat down the first time, even me and AJ, we first sat down, and AJ, by the way, did a great job of assembling all the equipment, putting the booms, the mics, the cameras, the soundboard together, so we could do this and at least sound a little bit professionally. That's my private jet flying overhead, by the way, in case you hear it. Everybody was kind of intimidated, right, bro?
It can be intimidating, especially if you've never done anything like this before.
I think we were all intimidated. We sat down and all these mics and shit.
This isn't super dissimilar when I did the acting classes in Midtown and we had to do improv in front of people, just you and someone else, and you just got to go off the cuff and
by the way,
just keep it going. Hopefully be entertaining.
Not to be super ADD like you are, but I just like to let everybody know that it is a gorgeous, cool September evening. It's a Saturday. It is about 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. Sun's starting to go down. Beautiful golden sunshine dappling through the trees. Bright, beautiful light greens, dark greens. Really
Colors are
looks
starting
great.
to change.
Colors are just about starting to change. I think we've got a couple of hot days left. And then, winter's coming, and then we're going to hear all the douchebags out there quoting Game of fucking Thrones, which I'm so sick of it, it's not even funny. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I watched the first few episodes, and I just don't know if it was my thing or not.
Really?
I'm not saying it's a bad show. It's a great show, but I just never got hooked.
Well, I'll tell you what, the reason I started watching it was people at work and my customers were talking about Game of Thrones, and I was like, oh, man, I feel like because they're like, oh, did you see what happened on Game of Thrones? So I really had to really force myself to watch it. Hold on, let me move this ashtray.
Well, my cousin was really into it.
Which cousin?
Your son.
My boy?
Yeah.
And he really got you into it?
He's the one that told me to watch it. Because at first I was like, oh, what is this, like a Dungeons and Dragons like show for geeks or something?
I actually would have liked it better if there was a lot less magic in it.
I heard there's a lot of penis in it too.
There's a lot of penis between us? What do you mean?
And South Park actually did an episode about Game of Thrones, and all they were talking about the whole time for the half hour was dick.
Here's the thing about South Park. South Park is like Howard Stern. It's the funniest thing in the world until they offend you, and then you don't want to watch it, right?
The closest thing they came to offending me was when they did the show about, it was when Jersey Shore was a popular thing in the world, I guess. And so the show was about like New Jersey douchebags taking over the whole country. That's the closest it came for me.
By the way, I'm going to tell everybody a secret. Jersey Shore's complete bullshit.
Right.
My daughter does acting, and all that reality TV shit that you think is reality out there, folks, let me help you out with something. It's all bullshit. It's not scripted, but what they do is this. They say, hey, AJ, in this scene,
right,
your unk walks in,
and they have representation,
and his cock is out.
Yeah.
And you're actually not offended by it, but he's offended that you're not offended. So go. And then you walk in and I'm like, hey, AJ, I walked in here with my cock's out and you didn't even say anything.
It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm for douchebags.
Did you make that up?
I just thought of it now.
Wow, that's actually pretty original and funny. I like that. You actually made me giggle on that. What'd you say? Say it again.
It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm for douchebags, because if you know anything about Larry David, he does nothing on the script. He might get a couple of bullet points when he does that show, but that's it. I was listening to the Entourage podcast, because they have a podcast now, and they break down every episode. So Larry David was on one of the earlier episodes, and he wouldn't even look at a script. He just goes, okay, why am I in this scene? What am I doing here? What's the overall kind of idea of why I
Bro,
exist.
Bro, I gotta tell you what. Say what you want, right? I get it because I saw the original episode of. Do you know how Curb Your Enthusiasm got started?
Did he start that after he left Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know how it started, actually?
as a mockumentary, right?
No.
Wasn't there like a? Didn't he make like a mockumentary movie, like in the spirit of
No. Bro, here's what happened. I saw it. It was insane. He's going to do a stand-up thing on HBO or Netflix or something. And that fat guy who plays his...
Jeff Garlin?
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't an actor. He was a legit agent.
So was the guy from The Sopranos,
Who?
Steve Sharippa, who played Bobby Bacala. He was a talent booker
Really?
in Vegas, and somebody that was in casting.
He's
and,
actually pretty...
yeah,
I like him on Blue Bloods.
somebody in casting. A lot of people do. Somebody that came to one of his shows that did casting wanted him for Sopranos.
Dude, not to go off on a tangent, but every fucking Italian in Newark, Bloomfield, Belleville, all think they could be. So my daughter's into, and she's an actress, and I've taken her around and gotten her headshots. And every fucking guy who's ready to retire, if they have a slight, they think they do an accent. I could do that. It's not hard. I could do that. What's the big deal? I can fucking do that.
The one thing I will say that I've heard is that if they want you for a role, they don't give a fuck what kind of experience you have. If they want you specifically, they're going to cast you until you really fuck up and make them fire you. That's what I've heard. In certain cases, that's definitely not, that's more the exception than the rule. But I've heard of instances of that
All
happening.
right, so we were talking about Bobby Bacala, but before that, we were going down the road on something. What were we talking about?
That's a
I
great,
lost my train of thought because I had an IPA and I'm starting to get dizzy.
yeah.
Hey, can you click this and hit pause so I can go get another beer?
No, but I can just sort of keep it going while you get another beer.
That's fucked up. How come you just can't stop it? Are we live streaming?
Yeah, we're live.
Wait, we're live on the internet right now? Yeah, yeah, yeah! Are we really? No, we're not. You're recording this.
Look, we've been going for 42 minutes.
Wait, we're live on the internet?
Yeah.
So, is this wasted though? Is this just going to go on the internet and it's going to be gone?
No, it's going to actually archive on the YouTube channel.
Right.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the video file, convert it into audio, and then it's going to go out on the Apple Podcast app as an audio-only file.
Wow. So you don't have to do any post-production work and cry like a fucking baby like you did the other day?
No. That's... And look, if we have to do it, we have to do it. But it was just getting to the point of...
Dude, did you burn through your fucking cigar already?
Well, most of it's here.
Dude, you're fucking... Wait. Are you like one of those machines that calibrates fucking lung cancer?
Oh, you know what we should
Suck
do?
that thing right down.
If you want to do a watch-along, I thought you were going to ask me if I was a Terminator. I think that would be
yeah,
good.
I'm the Terminator. Wait, why are we talking about the Terminator?
I think we should do like a T2 watch-along.
Hold on, let's talk about this. I want to think about this for a second. First of all, we should do a marathon Batman Dark Knight.
Like the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
Just hammer out the Nolan trilogy in one shot. I'm not against it.
Dude, that set that I gave you, was that regular DVD or Blu-ray?
Probably Blu-ray.
So why don't you bring the discs over here? I would love to do
Yeah.
like 3. Would we do like 3 podcasts, one for each movie? I think that's the only way to travel.
Yeah.
Now, when you do a
that
talk,
seems to make
hold
the
on,
most
hold on.
sense.
When you do a talk along, so guys, for those folks who don't know, I've actually built out my garage. We have heating, my garage is a 2-car garage, but it was built in probably 1927. But we built it out, new electric, lights, dual home theater. I'm gonna move the camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So we have home theater here. I do my artwork out here, and when I say artwork, I draw pictures of my wiener. Actually, stealing that joke from Seth Rogen. Not Seth Rogen. Seth, what's his name?
Seth Green?
No, what's his name? The Superbad guy. Seth.
Yeah, Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
He wrote
yeah.
Superbad
Yeah.
and was in it.
Yeah, yeah, but he had a dual role. He played the cop and he played. That was him as a kid.
Yeah, he wrote that when he was in high school, and then by the time they decided to make the movie, he was just too old to play that role. Even though he's only a year older than the kid Jonah Hill. He's not a kid now. It's my age.
Really?
In reality, he's only a year older than Jonah Hill.
Really?
And Jonah Hill's only a year older than me.
Well, you know what it is? You know what makes Jonah Hill look so much younger? Mike Cera.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because he looks like he's fucking 12.
Yeah.
So
He's great in that movie.
Dude, best line in that movie? Bro, you're so lucky sucking on your mommy's titties. They're so fucking big. And then Michael Cera goes, I don't feel so bad. You have your father's dick to suck on. That was fucking
It's the way
hysterical.
he says it in that Michael Cera.
So deadpan. Hey, not to go off on a tangent, but for you guys who are out there, if you blew off Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you need to watch that 5 times. It's horrible the first time.
You may not even like it the first time.
You might hate it the first time.
We talked about that a little bit last night. I call it the Zoolander effect because actually I have a friend, Gay Mike, that had me watch Zoolander.
Dude, does Gay Mike know you call him Gay Mike?
Probably not.
Don't call him Gay Mike.
He won't know who it is, but
Okay.
he said, hey, you're not going to like it. You're going to watch it anyway.
It's Mike Centenaro, by the way, so Mike, sorry about that.
But he said, look, after it ended, he said, just watch it again. Just watch it again.
Zoolander.
Yeah, and he goes, today won't be a total waste of time. Just watch it a second time. And I did eventually, and I loved it.
Bro, I don't. That's fucking weird because I think there's a lot of movies out there like that. You watch them once and you're like, I'm gonna go find that director and kill his dog. And then here comes my dog, by the way. Hey, Woofy. My dog actually came right into the studio here. Now get lost. But yeah, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World. My kids are like, Dad, you're 97. Why are you even watching that movie? First of all, it gets funnier and funnier every time I watch it. But what's that chick's name that's in it? I don't know what it is. She's got a lot of cinematic sex appeal. What's her name?
I can Google it.
All right, you Google it and talk to the audience. Daddy needs to go get another IPA. I'm not going to do bourbon like you because you're drinking the brown stuff already. And I promised the divine Miss M that I would have dinner with her tonight.
Yeah,
so.
it's Saturday. There's some college football on.
Are we going to watch any college football?
Well, I have the Georgia Tech Florida State.
Are they
game
kneeling
right
down
now.
too? What are they doing? Hey, I'm
not sure if they're allowed to or not.
Bro, I was listening. I listen to all media outlets, but I was listening to Fox today for a change, and they're saying that guys are staying in the locker room for the national anthem, but coming out for other anthem. What the fuck?
I think,
dude, if that's the case,
what you want to do.
If you're going to politicize football that much, I'm done. I'm done.
I think some guys feel like no matter what they do, they're fucked. If they go out for the anthem and stand, they're going to get negative attention, which is insane. And if they go out for the anthem and kneel, they're going to get negative attention.
Bro, you can't shit on the country. Come on.
I know, but I think some of these players...
If you stay in the locker
think some of these
room,
players
you're
are just
automatically saying, fuck you to the flag. And you know what? There's a lot of guys out there who don't have legs, arms, everything else, so you can play your stupid game and make millions of dollars. Don't say you're... Come on. Now, I know that, when I'm not saying I'm not understanding of the issue, but how come I only hear about it during football season? I never see or hear anything from these people on the off season. Now, I heard that Kaepernick actually does some stuff in the off season.
He should now because he doesn't really have a full-time job, and he should be putting his money where his mouth is. But just to finish my thought before, I think a lot of these players may not necessarily agree with the kneeling, but I think they feel like they're in a compromised position where they feel like maybe they're just better off taking what they view as a neutral act and just not even coming out at all for the anthem. Because,
bro, by doing that, you're going to get already. If you don't come out for the anthem, you don't stand for the anthem, and you stay in the locker room, that's a super duper cop out. But you're already smacking everybody in the face. And I don't know how
I don't-
football fans could keep coming out and supporting it.
I don't necessarily take it that way. I think the anthem now is they're really making a big deal out of the anthem. You have to understand, if you're just a normal sports viewer like me, they only show the national anthem on TV in big games. It's got to be like a big important playoff game or the
not
Super
true.
Bowl.
That's bullshit.
If you
That's
watch
a lie.
any regular season game, maybe now they'll show the anthem,
Oh,
but they never
Oh.
did. They never did until
Don't-
this whole controversy started.
Don't do that, because what you're saying is, well, Nub. They never show the national in any sporting event, high school, college,
Yeah.
whatever. They sing the
Sure,
national
no,
anthem.
I'm not disputing
right.
that they do the anthem.
Just because they don't televise it.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing.
But if you don't
When-
televise it, then you take away the platform.
It's weak. That's weak.
And it's only being televised because there is a controversy.
Bro, when I come back with my other beer, I want to talk to you about a guy who made a bong out of a beer can. I thought it was
Yeah.
disgusting and hilarious at the same time.
I hope we have a step-by-step instruction manual on how to do that. It
I don't
sounds
smoke pot. I've
sounds
never
kind of
smoked
fun.
pot, so I'm not into it. But I'll be right back. Does anybody else in the audience want anything? Joe, you want something?
Think
I'll
he-
bring it for you.
He
What do
wants
you want?
he wants a beer.
You want a beer? You got it.
Yeah, so the anthem. Again, I'm not
Hey.
demonizing anybody for doing what they do. I think they mean well, but it's probably just not the stage for it. In my opinion, it turns a lot of people off, and the problem is what I was talking about with a lot of athletes in general, just being in a compromised position. You know damn well that everybody has a mind for themselves and thinks for themselves. So to have, you're never going to have everybody agree on everything, and you shouldn't. Everybody should think for themselves. But I feel like a lot of these pro athletes, they feel like they're going to get a lot of unnecessary heat on them if they go out there and they don't kneel. With that said, it's easy for me as just a regular guy to say, yeah, no, I'd stand for the anthem. Yeah, you always got to stand for it. But I'm not in their shoes. So, again, I don't know what I would do necessarily. And a lot of these guys, I think that they get pressured to kneel or stay in the locker room. So I'm willing to sort of give them a pass on that. But a lot of people aren't. Actually, the season opener, Mr. Nubb, the season opener ratings were down 16% from 2019's opener.
Yeah, but 2019's opener was down how much from the previous year?
That's a good point.
Right?
So they were on a downward trend for sure. There's no doubt about that.
Look,
And-
until it hits the owners in the pocketbook, they're not going to do shit.
Yeah, they have to be hitting the wallet.
16%, fuck it.
And
But what I want to know is, I don't care. That's not fair to say. Regardless of the issue, right? Let's say the issue was aliens from Mars came down and landed in Newark, New Jersey, and the minute they landed, we started shooting them, right?
right.
Forget, what does sports have to do with that? Sports was always the break from, our trials and tribulations, not the center of it.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's what it should be. So that's where I agree with you 100%, because I think there's a time and a place if you want to make a point, if you're going to point out whatever racial injustices there are, because I'm sure there's some. I don't think there's as many as they want you to think there
So what's
are.
the fucking NFL doing about? They give a shit so much. So how much money, time, and effort are they really putting into racial equality outside of my time?
Right.
On screen time.
See, what
right?
they're doing is they're donating to different organizations, but
No,
we
that's
know,
bullshit.
but we know who controls these organizations. So I would say they're probably giving their money to the wrong folks if they really want to make a difference. They're essentially donating to the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
With the organizations that they're donating to.
Here's the other thing, Juice. 'Cause, look, I want to know is, I don't care. Let's say the issue was aliens from Mars came down and landed in Newark, New Jersey, and the minute they landed, we started shooting them, right? Malcolm X, this is not me. Malcolm X
Right.
said, as a good
He
example.
he never trusted white liberals. I know that.
No. That's fine. But as a good example, he was absolutely against the shilling of comedians, singers, athletes as agents of change, right? You know, I'm assuming he was thinking, because I haven't done enough reading. I've certainly seen enough of his interviews, and I've done some reading. Oh, that's Sonny. Sorry, guys.
Someone doesn't like the podcast.
So, their thought is, you've got an ocean of intelligent people out there who should be leaders. It's not basketball, hockey, football, baseball stars. There are real intelligent individuals out there who need to be heard from and can be leaders for all of us. But no, we're focusing on popular culture, which is, it's like for instance,
We're
like,
hearing the wrong messaging from the wrong people.
Well, dude,
to make a real difference in whatever.
Dude, I can't take it seriously. It's like when I hear Susan Sarandon
Right.
and everybody getting behind her, and she has a high school education? Great actress, don't get me wrong. I could never do what she does.
And when someone like her speaks out, I want to know who's pulling the strings, because she's just essentially a puppet for someone else.
I don't believe that. I think she's her own person. You think
I think a lot of these people.
You think somebody's pulling the strings for Alyssa Milano?
I think she's just off her rocker. To be honest with you, she's a special sort of crazy.
It's like people like. Oh,
she actually real funny. The other day she made a hashtag called Joe Therapist, like Joe Biden's going to be the therapist of the country, but she didn't put any spaces.
So it says Joe the Rapist?
Right, yeah, because she didn't capitalize the word the, and right.
Joe the Rapist.
So she had to
what
put
an
out,
idiot!
So she had to put out a tweet.
I didn't mean Joe the Rapist.
Right.
I meant Joe the Therapist.
Yeah.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, just because they're actors, football players, basketball players, hockey players, chess players, what have you, it doesn't make them smart. Okay?
Right.
Doesn't make them smart. Then again, it doesn't make me smart because I've recognized that. Just trying to bring attention to it.
But I think if these guys want to make a real difference in what they're talking about, I think you don't need to donate money to essentially Democrat organizations. I think you should go to the exact communities where there's problems, because I'm sure there's problems out there in this country in some places. Luckily, I don't really feel like I live in one of those areas, but I'm sure there's areas where there are plenty of problems, and I think they should go in there, not Sunday at 1 o'clock when they should be playing football, but go in there during the off season, put your money where your mouth is, and actually contribute to positive change if that's what they say they want to do.
And I agree. So I'll give you a good example. Like the NFL, they make such big deals with the networks, right? They really do. Why can't they, for instance, have some type of primetime event off season,
Right.
that specifically speaks to this, that everybody can learn from?
Because that would be productive and it would make sense. I don't think, to a certain degree, I don't believe a lot of these folks really want these problems to be solved, because then I think one side would have nothing to run on. I think if you actually solve these problems...
Are you snorting Sudafed?
But I think if you solve
You keep going like this. You keep going. Before you talk, you can go, like Trump does?
Right.
And they say because he does that because he's addicted to, what is it, Sudafed or...
Yeah, I think that's the latest
they
thing,
said he snorts Sudafed.
Right. But I think that they should actually hands-on do the work, instead of, it's like anybody could put a fist up or anybody can take a knee, but I think a lot of these people are just all talk. And I think when you actually solve these problems and you take people from being victims and turn them into regular people with no problems, then there's no more victims to appeal to, and that's a lot of their base, are people that feel like they're victims of something.
I don't want to get political because we're going to alienate half the audience, but there's a lot of black leaders that I listen to. I think the guy's name is Clarence Hendrickson. I'm not sure. I apologize for not knowing it. I watched him during the Republican National Convention. I would dare anybody, and he was one of the original guys who sat at a counter down south, and he said, I didn't know whether I was going to come out in a body bag, right?
Was he the guy that said from the cotton fields to Congress, or is that a different gentleman?
I don't know, but I just remember his story about sitting at that counter. He didn't know if he was going to get yelled at, spit at, or what he said was, I didn't know if I was going to come out in a body bag. And that's a guy who I wish I could be like, right? I could aspire. That's a leader. You know, I'm not going to look. Colin Kaepernick, whatever. This guy, you know, not raised in privilege, who fought the fight that and put his life on the line. You know, I said this before. You know what? I'm going to reserve my comments. I don't want to be political on this thing.
Well, you have the right to your own opinion.
I do, but I respect the issues. I respect the problems. I just don't like the way professional sports is handling it. Right?
Yeah. No, I'm in
Dude,
agreement.
there you go again. You're like,
that was actually cocaine, folks.
was that Sudafed?
That's why I'm not on camera right now.
You're actually snorting cocaine.
Too much white powder.
In my studio. By the
There
way,
it is again.
we're broadcasting from where? The Donnie Crystal Lounge.
That's right. That's right, folks. A lot of people wanted to see it.
Hey, let's pivot. Let's
yeah,
pivot.
sure.
Bro, we talked about this before. I'd like to get some guests here. We got to get Shout Out Jerry, right? Here's what I'm afraid about with Shout Out Jerry. You know what I'm afraid of? But it might be pretty funny. I think he's going to clam up. I think when he sits down and sees the microphones and me and you are tearing into him, I think he's not going to say a fucking word. I think he's going to be like, fuck this, you guys are assholes.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. I'll give anybody the benefit of a doubt before they come on, but
What about your cuz?
Which one?
Your cousin.
The guy or one of the girls?
No, the guy. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh. No, I think he's going to be great. He wants to do it. He's enthusiastic about it. He has a lot to bring to the table. As we were saying before, he's very knowledgeable in Game of Thrones, and he's very knowledgeable in the Marvel, whereas I'm more of a DC guy. So there's a lot he can bring to the table.
Unpack there.
There's a lot going on there.
All right. Okay. I like that. So what I want to do is, now that the COVID shit's starting to go past us. Boy, they really, Fauci really wants to keep fucking COVID going, doesn't he?
Well, I think he's tied into a lot of these big pharma companies that are working on
Bro,
vaccines.
You're going to have, I hate to break it to you, it's a disease. You're going to have people in the hospital for years with COVID. But I don't think it's spiking. Oh, okay, it's spiking. What does that mean? There's 500 people in the hospital. Got it. I certainly don't want to be one of them, and I'm sympathetic to the people that are in the hospital. But you can't shut the country down. You just can't keep doing it. What's the matter? Why are you changing?
No, I'm sorry.
Am I too loud?
No, it's just.
Was it too loud for you?
It could have been better. Now it's at a better place.
Okay. So I want to get the cigar guy in here, bro.
Yeah, we should just the next time we talk to him at J&R, just let him know, hey, we do a podcast. Some of these people, though, if they're a little more high profile, I think we should build a little more of a following first, like for the cigar guy. But Shout Out Jerry, he can come on tomorrow for all I care.
I would look. Is that Divine Miss M up there?
It is.
Okay.
But Uncle Jerry, or Shout Out NSJ, he's a guy that's already in
NSJ. What's that mean? What does NSJ mean? Where are you getting that from?
A lot of times he tends to say he's going to do something and not show up.
So we call him No Show Jerry. Is that what you're saying?
That's that's the abbreviation.
NSJ.
But he's already kind of in our extended universe, so I think he can be on with no following whatsoever, and he might help us get a following.
Dude, I like that. He's in our extended universe
Of folks to go to.
Hello. That was the Divine Miss M. She walked by and shaking her head like we're completely retarded, which I really like.
Yeah, no, I got the same response last night. I had
From who?
I had a lady friend came over at the tail end of the podcast and saw the equipment
Wait, wait,
in
wait,
my
wait,
living
wait,
room.
wait, 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 wait. You had a lady friend come over?
Yeah, she came over about 10
Hold
minutes.
on. A lady friend or
Right.
an internet friend?
No, I've known her for several years, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
She a pretty girl?
Yeah, she's pretty.
Okay.
She's pretty.
Are you
And-
just saying that because you don't want to offend her on the?
No, well,
podcast?
she should. No, I mean, she
You got a
was on-
picture of her? Can I see a picture of her? You have something on your phone?
Yeah, hold on.
Would it be embarrassing? No, don't show me any. I don't want to see naked pictures of your girlfriends. I really don't.
No, I don't have any of those. But, let's see here.
Shout out Jerry loves to talk about his
This would be the whole show.
new single
If,
life. By the way.
yeah. Well, he's been single for what now? 3 years?
Miss M. Oh, she just walked right by. Won't even look in here. Dude, I got to get back to my drawing. I really want to get back to my drawing. I haven't picked up a pencil in.
Yeah, so
months.
that's the chick that came over last night. That's
Are
not-
you kidding me?
Yeah. No, actually, I'm not.
Wow. What does she want to do with you?
We get along, you know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she's a nice girl, but
she puts up with your shenanigans?
But she walked into my living room and saw the equipment and just started she goes, "What are you two fucking idiots doing?" Like in like it kind of reminded me it reminded me of Wolf of Wall Street when they take the duds. Remember when they have the Quaaludes, but they were duds.
Yeah.
And they start working out in the basement downstairs
Right, to get the kids get them going?
Yeah.
Bro, I got to tell you what, on a scale of 1 to 10, this girl is a solid 9, maybe 10.
Wow. Well,
She's beautiful.
thank you.
I mean, serious.
Good for her.
Is she a friend or a girlfriend?
She's just a friend. You know,
That figures.
see what happens.
That figures. Does she live in your neighborhood?
She actually lives in Nutley. She
Really?
lives in Nutley, yeah. She comes and hangs out.
Can we get her on the podcast?
No.
Wow.
She thinks it's one of the stupidest things that she's ever seen. I was like, whoa. I was like, is this as retarded as she's fucking saying it is?
Bro, I'm going to tell you what. That's the first person. Every person I talk to about, I'm doing a podcast with my buddy. And everybody's like,
Oh, and she thought,
how do I get on
she
it?
thought I spent like $10,000 on the equipment too. Like,
Wait, we didn't? You told me it was 10,000.
Well, yeah, that's what I told you. It was a little less, but she thought I just bought this computer. I've had this computer for a few years. I had to
It's a great looking
have
computer.
it
by the way.
fixed after a little fire incident that I had.
Oh, I'm not talking about my poor brother who's in the happy hunting grounds who burned down your apartment. I'm not talking about that.
But so she had never seen the computer, so she thought I just bought the computer out of nowhere and all this crazy equipment. But,
Are we going to talk about any of the football that's on TV right now?
Well, right now, Florida State has a 10-0 lead over Georgia Tech. 7:55 to go in the second quarter. Really not a tremendous amount of action. There was a weather delay. Plus, neither the NFL nor college had a preseason. And college traditionally doesn't really have a preseason, but they have kind of, I would assume they do untelevised, probably simulations of games or scrimmages. But I don't think any of that went on this year. So I expect the sport to look pretty sloppy on both levels until October.
So all the bullshit about, I don't think there's going to be an NFL season this year. What happened to that?
I think there's too much money on the line for the owners and for the TV networks, and I think they're just going to push through it. I think,
Do you think it's going to be shitty?
yeah, it's for sure, especially for September.
Is The Rock
No doubt in my
going to
mind.
help us with the XFL?
Well, the thing about
Why would he buy it? Is he going to like?
well,
Is
fir-
he? Hold on. Is
first
he
of all, the
not-
investing company bought it.
Right. Are they not even going to have teams? Are they just going to come up with toys and games and shit like that and come out with like video games? Did he just buy the name?
So
Like Smith and Walensky, super popular franchise name. Now, now you see like even like Peter Luger's, you could buy their steak sauce in the shop, right?
right.
Is that what the real end game is here?
No, I think he saw an opportunity. I'm sure he led the investment team, and he knows a lot about football. He was part of the, I want to say 1992 National Championship Miami Hurricanes team, and he certainly knows a lot about football. He played his whole life. He played professionally in the CFL. He had, I think, a shoulder injury that kept him out of the NFL draft. So he played a couple years in the CFL, before he made a phone call to his dad, Rocky Johnson, and said, I think I want to try out the wrestling thing. This football thing's not really going anywhere, unfortunately. It wasn't due to a lack of talent. It was just his body just was shot.
Juice. But, we're going to go right into the whole rock thing. We're going to go into wrestling. Should we save that for another podcast and totally go into that?
My point, I'm just bringing up his background for context with the XFL. So Vince McMahon invested, I think, something crazy like
what?
$500 million of his own money. He liquidated stock, WWE stock.
Whipty-dupty.
And The Rock and the investment company got it.
Do you think that Vince McMahon tonight is eating any? You think he's eating hamburgers instead of fucking filet mignons?
I mean, his ego for sure took a beating, but he's still worth.
I don't think so.
He's still worth $1 billion.
And would they pay for the XFL?
So I think they got it for like $15 million. So they got it for pennies on the dollar, if you think about those numbers, 15 to 500. I'm pulling those numbers out of my ass, but it's something close to that.
I'm going to argue with you, and I'll bet you.
And the TV deals are in place, which was huge.
Coming from the tech industry, I will bet you here's what happened. I will bet you that Vince McMahon, I could be completely wrong, and I'm talking out of my sphincter muscle, that they paid, whatever, 15, 20 million, but Vince McMahon owns like 49% of XFL.
Well,
they control it. It's theirs.
They went Chapter 7. So I think he gave up.
What's that got to do with it? It doesn't mean shit.
I think he gave up his ownership and just folded it. I mean, we'll see.
No. He gave up control. Don't confuse control with ownership, right? You can give up control of the company. Whoever owns 51% or better controls the company.
I totally agree.
Guarantee you he has a stake in that company and he will recoup his dollars. Do you know what The Rock's plan is with that investment firm with the XFL?
So the thing I want to say about The Rock,
first of all, I thought those uniforms suck.
Well, all right. So from a football perspective, he's going to come in with his background and acumen for the game on a high level and probably make a difference for the better. This is where I'm going to tie it into the social justice kind of stuff and go back to that uncomfortable place.
Wait, is he going to call it the Justice League? Isn't
that would be phenomenal, the Justice League of American football. But what he's going to do?
You were.
As great as it is that The Rock is in place, and I think that's a strong guy to run this league if that's what he chooses to do, he might be the commissioner's boss essentially. That might be his role in the league. The big guy answers to him, but it's also a double-edged sword for people like us that aren't a fan of the kneeling for the anthem or the staying in the locker room for the anthem. So when McMahon announced this league about 2.5 years ago, it came up in the press conference.
Didn't he also say no criminals allowed?
No criminals allowed, and you have to stand for the anthem. And I think that came at a time when the NFL was really tanking, and a lot of people wanted to hear that. So that's going to go out the window.
Do you think
with The Rock?
Hold on. Do you think XFL tanked because of marketing, etc., or did it tank because of COVID?
It was all COVID. It was doing well for what it was.
We were watching it.
It was doing.
It was fun.
They weren't exceeding expectations, but they were at least delivering on the expectations because they weren't high at all.
You know what's great though? The tickets were cheap. You can get great seats. Another thing to do.
What I liked about it is that I could go to a Jets fan and say, hey, we could be a fan of the same team. We could actually go to MetLife Stadium and root for the same fucking team for once. Because Jets fans are crazy.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean Jets fans are crazy?
So I've probably been to more Jets games than Giants games just due to cost of going and ease of getting the tickets, ease of access to the tickets.
Because the Jets suck?
Yeah, but those guys can tailgate, man.
They're rabid fans, though.
That's the thing. They know that their team hasn't won in a very long time, and they bring that enthusiasm and that energy with them.
Bro, not to go off on a tangent. I don't know why you just reminded me of this. Last night we were playing cards, and that guy, the Asian guy Timmy I was talking about.
Right.
Dude, I had to tell him to stop fucking screaming. It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Was he all tuned up?
No, we were in the backyard.
Was he winning?
Dude, are you going to listen? We're in the backyard. We're playing cards. And he's screaming because he's also watching, are you ready for this? Tennis. And
Wow.
he was betting on tennis.
That's the thing.
That's a habit. Wait, what?
That's the thing. That's probably why a lot of people watch it, because they're fucking betting.
Bro, we have got to switch these cameras. We have got to, because I have to look at my camera so the people out there can see me looking head on, not hard on. And if I had the camera over there, while I'm looking at
Right.
you see how my head is turned,
Right.
and it's so I can look at you when I'm talking. People probably want to see me talking like this, not like this. What do you think? Or am I wrong? Or you think it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. But if you'd like to
Well,
look
then
at
how
the
come your
camera-
fucking camera's like dead straight in front of your face when you're talking?
That's by chance. I just tried to make it look the best it could look for now, until we figure out a better way to do it.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you take a look behind the juice, there's a couple of prints of some automobiles back there. And those prints were given to me by a friend. I'll tell you her name. Her name was Donna. When I was in 7th, 8th grade, when I was a little whippersnapper, and I put those prints away. Those prints are like, let's see, I'm going to say no less than 45 years old. And they're in mint condition. Great. He went to some car show and gave me the prints. But they look great where they're at. I know nobody gives a shit. I figured I'd tell you.
It's a good story.
That's what happens when you're drinking 2 super strong IPAs. Bro, I didn't tell you this, but we have some friends down the shore. This guy owns an amazing, and I'm going to tell you the name of the coffee shop. He owns a coffee shop, and you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? He sells, you ready? Hold on. Coffee. He doesn't sell anything else. He doesn't sell frappuccinos and pumpkin spice ball suckers and all this crazy fucking shit. He sells great coffee. And if there's any coffee aficionados out there, he sells a lot of what are called pour-overs, where they grind up special beans like Ethiopian, Sumatra, Congo, you name it, Sulawesi, and I forgot where I was going with this.
All sorts of different varieties of coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee-flavored coffee.
I mean, it's just coffee, but I forget now. I was driving towards a point. The name of the coffee shop is called Turnstile on Route 71 in beautiful downtown Belmar, New Jersey.
It's a good area.
Really fabulous coffee. I'm going to have to go back and listen to why I saw. Oh, I remember now. Because I was talking about, we went out to dinner with them, and he and I had, are you ready for this, folks? Four IPA beers. That's not a lot. It's not a lot of beer. But
Those things can get powerful.
Bro. I had the bed spins. I got hammered on 4 flipping IPAs.
There's certain IPAs that they only will serve you one at certain bars.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. So
That's how strong they can get.
for the folks at home, I'm drinking, again, the Asbury Park Sea Dragons. Look at that. First of all, it's beautiful can. Beautiful
That would be
label.
a cool sports team.
What, the Sea Dragons?
Yeah.
I do too. That's actually,
Good color scheme.
yeah, dude. We should talk to the guys at
XFL.
Asbury Park Brewery and say, when are you going to start a fucking football team? Because I would buy that jersey.
Right.
Dude, that's,
No,
you know what?
it's not bad.
You don't come up with good stuff all the time, but that's genius.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to call them and see if they'll be on our podcast.
You should.
Is it
That'd
because
be a
I've
good
had
one.
1.5 IPAs and I'm a little fucked up right now?
I think it would be good for us and good for them. It'd be a good guest. They can come
Wow.
on. They can give their outfit a plug to the folks out there.
Should we pack up the equipment and do like a remote down in Belmar?
We could do that eventually, sure.
Oh, eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's getting to be the off season.
Bro,
For the
I'm going
shore.
to tell you what. Let me tell you something. I'm not trying to S your D, But when you're right, you're right. Now that we're doing this organic, natural conversation, you need fire? Where's the fire? Fire's right there. Conversational type podcast. I'm gonna say this is the best podcast. Am I gonna say that about every podcast though? That was the best one.
In theory, every podcast should be better than the one before it for beginners like us.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you putting this one today so far? Because I'm gonna go for another 20 minutes and then I gotta hang up my cleats because we're 2 hours.
It's a 20.
Dude, I'm not gonna fight with you. You were 100% right. So for the folks at home who weren't privy to the previous podcast, there's a lot of consternation going back and forth about who's going to say what and who's going to be funny, not funny.
And I think there's a show there, but it's just different from this. I think that's something we can do where maybe perhaps we do a half hour a week and we talk about whatever we want to talk about in the world of entertainment or sports or the news. And we can make it like some sort of a newscast kind of a show.
What?
It's just just thinking out loud.
Don't never do that again.
Okay.
When you think out loud, it scares everybody in the audience when you think out. Please don't do that. If any thinking has to be done, I'll do it because I promise you it'll be fucked up. Hey, can I tell you something about Shout Out Jerry?
Yeah, go for it.
Bro, check this out. So this fucking guy, I mean, look, he's nothing but good intentions, right? He's a good guy. I love him. He loves me. He's good. He's got a heart of pure gold, and I love him. Don't get me wrong. It might be the IPA talking, but
we're at an hour and 20 minutes, by the way.
Okay. Are you gonna watch the football? Or are you gonna listen to my story?
I'm listening.
Okay. So he has got a raging, engorged, vein-throbbing hard-on for Kramer. You know who Kramer is? The guy who does the stocks and shit?
Oh, Jim Kramer.
Yeah.
If you just say Kramer, my brain goes to Seinfeld.
I never thought of that. That's actually funny. No, not that Kramer. The stock guy Kramer, right? He fucking creams. If you say Kramer, he just pulls his pants down and starts
I believe
jerking
he's up
off.
$13,000 on Kramer's advice. That was the last update.
So, I don't have a lot of money. I've got my financial. I'm trying to retire in the next 6-7 years, and I'm look. If you said to me, "Yo, Nub, take all of your money, you control it," I'd fucking lose it in 20 minutes. I would put it in 3 stocks, it would be gone. Right? So I don't do that. I do what the rest of the world does. I let professionals handle it. I use Edward Jones. I like my financial advisor. Other people use Merrill Lynch or fucking Prudential, or there's only a million of them out there, right?
Most people probably don't even have the time.
Well, here's the funny thing about Shout Out Jerry. He's like, dude, I keep telling you, you should have bought Tesla. Tesla was, I told you to buy fucking Tesla when it was at 500. Now it's at 2,500. You could have made a fortune.
But how many shares did he buy at 500?
Doesn't matter.
And how much money is he fucking around with?
Dude, no, he's telling me like I should take 100 G's and drop it in.
Oh, that's crazy.
Bro, but here's the thing, right? And I told him this and he won't listen. I'm like, motherfucker, what you don't understand is this. Let's say we could somehow get into the Doc Brown, Marty McFly fucking time machine and go back in time, and I put 100,000 into Tesla, I fucking guarantee you that stock would tank. It would tank. And he's like, you're an asshole. Listen to Kramer. He's never wrong. What the
He's
fuck?
never wrong.
I mean, I'm like, dude, whatever. I'm not doing it. And he calls me. He's like, you're stupid. You didn't listen to me. Stock's up 3 billion%. I'm like, yeah, if I put the money in, I guarantee you it would go 3 billion negative.
Well, that's just the way it works. I agree with you though. I think there's professionals that that do a way better job than I could ever do. I have an app called Robinhood, which lets you do
Yeah, that's
trading.
perfect. I love the first fucking name. It's Robin.
Right.
Like I'm robbing
And,
your money.
yeah. And I put a couple grand into it just to
And what
buy
happened?
some things here and there. I'm down like 500. I mean, I haven't checked it. I don't check it at all anymore. When I first started, it was like a new hobby. I was sort of anal with it. Now I just let it sit there because stocks are long term. You can't. You really
I try
can't.
to tell this guy this. I'm in it for the long term. I'm trying
Right.
to fucking retire someday. Hey, bro, did you check out my shirt, by the way? Do you see what it is?
What is that, by the way? Is that the Arrogant Bastard
Yeah.
official shirt
Yeah,
there?
check it out. I'll move my camera down for a second. I'm wearing the Arrogant Bastard. Look at my fat gut. Never mind. I won't show anybody. I'm wearing an Arrogant Bastard shirt. I was seeing a customer in. By the way, you fucking guys out there, you got to go to Richmond, Virginia. It sounds like a dump hole. It's actually not. It's a lot of fun.
Is that the capital? Well,
You can try to make me look stupid in front of the entire
I think
audience.
it is. Well, that would make sense.
Bro,
probably
I'm
make
going to
it-
tell you what. Not only do they have 23 microbreweries, they've got a hold on. They've got a great place called Havana 59, and whenever I go to Richmond, Virginia, I make sure I go to Havana 59. It's one of the only places you can have dinner and a cigar all in the same place. It's fabuloso. How do you get your why are you how is it that you can get your microphone and not the boom in front of oh wait did I just do
You
it?
can,
Did I get it?
yeah,
I
you
got
can
it.
just point it down and aim it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, hear you great.
Super duper. Super duper. All right, I'm going to be quiet for a second. I've been fucking do I talk too much on this thing? Do I like hog the mic?
No, not at all. If you have a thought, you should. The best thing to do, I think, is to get it out there. We bounce back off of it.
How was your cigar today, by the way?
It's great. It's as good as the one I had the other day.
Really? That's a JR special, by the way.
Yeah, these are the JR cigar. It's their take on the Cuban, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
They're very good.
absolutely. It's not an expensive cigar, but I think it's a great cigar. I'm smoking the Romeo. I love when I talk to people. I'm like, what cigar are you smoking? Well, I'm smoking the Romeo and Julieta. I'm like, what did you know how to speak Spanish now all of a sudden? Do you mean the Romeo and Julieta? Yeah, well, that's not the way you say it. Really? Let's hear you say mozzarella. Mutz. I'll just have mutz on my sandwich. When I hear somebody say
manicotti.
mutz, oh, dude, go off on a tangent real quick. Let's talk about cheese for a second, right?
Right.
So my father used to make a sandwich. He would put salami, roasted peppers, and ricotta on it, right?
Right.
And people would be like, that's disgusting. That's gross. And I'm like, how is it gross? You have a ham and cheese sandwich, don't you? Yeah, but you don't put ricotta on a fucking roll. Why not? It's fucking cheese. It's amazing. I'm going to tell you, if you folks listen to me out there, you want to have the best. Not only will you have the best sandwich you ever ate, I promise you that night, if you're a woman or a man, you'll have the best sex ever. On a torpedo roll, that's a real old Guinea term right there, a torpedo roll. I'm Italian, by the way. A torpedo roll, which is they call it Metagons call it a long roll. But a torpedo roll, you need to have Hormel de Lusso salami, roasted peppers, and ricotta with salt, pepper, and a sprinkle of olive oil. That sandwich is so good. Not only will somebody have to hold you back from punching a baby, I guarantee you'll at least drown 6 kittens in a pillow sack. It's that fucking good.
That sounds worth it.
Doesn't that sound like a good sandwich? Or am I wrong?
Torpedo roll, huh? I haven't had one of those in a while.
Dude, you never heard that, a torpedo roll?
Oh, I've
Do you
heard
know
of
what
it.
else people don't know about? Did you ever hear of a pizza roll?
A pizza roll. No.
Wow, look at you. Look at my buddy over here. Super Metagon. You don't know what a pizza roll is or pizza bread?
Pizza bread, I know.
Okay, what's pizza bread? Big ass.
That's the focaccia, I believe, right? Otherwise known as
He's
that.
completely wrong.
No.
So what a pizza roll is, it almost looks like a big round pita, with a circle cut out in the center. And when I grew up in beautiful downtown Newark, New Jersey, there was a place that's still there called Dickie D's. They would cut that in half.
That place actually managed to survive this whole time?
Bro, you can't kill it.
Wow.
You can't kill it.
Good for
And they would cut the roll lengthwise and then open up the pocket and stuff hot dogs, fried potatoes, peppers, and onions. Oh, my God. So when I was a kid, about 1,000 years ago, I walked into Dickie D's and I looked at the menu. It's probably about 12 o'clock, maybe 11:30 in the morning. And I'd walked a mile from my house and I just walked into Dickie D's. And I looked at the menu. I start walking out. And the guy behind the counter, I love this story. Guy behind it goes, "Oh, hey, kid, where are you going?" And I go, "Well, I don't have enough money for, anything on the menu." And he goes, "How much you got?" And I go, "I got a quarter." He goes, "A quarter? You get a potato sandwich for a quarter." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." Gave him a quarter. He took a pizza roll, cut it into gave me a quarter of a pizza roll, opened it up, stuffed it with potatoes. Dude, it was fucking amazing.
Wow.
And then I had to run home because I got chased all the way by, let's just say, undesirables.
So, what do you think that sandwich would go for today? A quarter sandwich. Sandwich that costs a quarter.
I would say $2.
Hmm.
They'd fucking hammer you for $2. Bro, I'm running out of gas a little bit here. I'm going to drink my rest of my IPA.
If you want to wrap this thing up.
I don't know.
I'm
What are you
good.
thinking? What else we have on the menu today? I like the way we opened it up. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the rhubarb.
Right.
We're rubbing the rhubarb today. We did a good job rubbing the rhubarb.
It's a good rub today.
We didn't chafe it.
No.
It was like a stack of rhubarb being rubbed with a handful of Jergens lotion. It was nice and smooth.
It was, yeah. I think we have to get our repetitions in at the beginning here, and I think this was probably the best repetition we've had so far.
And we went live today, right, bro?
Yeah, we went live.
Do we have any listeners? Can you tell if we have any listeners today?
Let's see. So we had one viewer. It looks like they're still with us.
Wow! Hey!
Shout out to the one viewer out there.
Yeah!
Excellent.
Number one viewer.
There you go.
If you call in,
We
get a
are
special prize.
A lot of people. The one thing people have been asking me to do is to set up a line for people to call in.
Okay.
I would say at this stage in the game, I don't think that's a thing to do just yet. But I think
I'm going
in
to
the
fight
future-
with you on that.
I think
I'm
in the
going to fight
future
with
we
you.
want to
Here's
do
what we need to do. Here's what we need to do. We need to buy. Should we buy a burner?
I mean, I'll figure out a way to pipe it in over the computer through Skype or something.
Well, all right. I mean, even people don't want to be on fucking TV. Well, maybe we get like a burner phone.
Well, it doesn't have to be video, but
and we throw out the
yeah.
number for the burner phone and say, "Come on, folks, call in. Come on."
But there's probably a way to do that through the computer, so at least it patches in their voice through the
Bro,
application.
how are we going to do the debates and the election? I can't wait.
So because news is fair use, we could actually put the debate on the screen with us.
So let me ask you this, Juicy Juice.
Shoot.
How we can't be fucking, I can't drink IPAs during that. Because that...
You might need to drink IPAs.
No,
during
man,
that.
I got to... Because
Well, election night for sure. 'cause
election night, I need a nap.
You know some wacky shit's going to go down on election night.
Bro, is our boy going to win?
Win or lose, that's going to be a crazy night.
Bro, is our boy going to win?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But you know what kind of encouraged me? I think that the other side may have screwed the pooch. I think people are so sick.
Are you saying they overplayed their hand on the whole rioting stuff?
Yeah, I think that people are like, you know what? This is dangerous.
People don't want to defund the police. That's a silly...
And
they're starting to walk that back because you know why? Because it wasn't reflecting well in their
Bro,
polling.
I think
not
that-
because it matters, but because it wasn't reflecting
Look,
well in their polling.
I think they need to not only refund the police, think they need to upfund the police. And let me give you a good example. When you have a domestic... Do you know most cops get killed during domestic violence situations?
I believe that 100%.
Okay. So that's that's when they get a domestic violence call. They need to have somebody out there, not a cop, but maybe a couple of cops and maybe a social worker or a psychologist or somebody who knows how to deal with that, right? That's not defunding the police. That's refunding the police with somebody that can make a change to these. Look, when there's domestic violence or issues, people are suffering. Do you understand that? You know, people are suffering. And you're going to send these fucking cops out to try and diffuse that? I think you need like a real professional to do that. Do you think I'm wrong, or am I talking out of my ear?
No, I think you're correct. But the problem is, say in New York, where they just took away $1 billion out of the $7 billion budget. That's not helping anything.
Bro, I'm going to tell you something. I have a bunch of friends who live in New York. I work in New York. And what they're saying to me is New York is de Blasio, Cuomo, you got what you wanted. Manhattan's cratered. And what they're saying is things like this. You have companies that have 47 floors in Tower A.
Right.
And now these companies are like, hey, maybe we don't need 47 floors. Maybe we need 3. Right? Now what are you going to do? And they're going to get out of it. They're like, oh, they have leases. Yeah, fuck you. They're going to get out of those leases. They're going to go to court. And they're going to fight it in court and say, you know what? COVID destroyed us. Change the business paradigm. So
COVID plus these policies that the politicians...
What policies? What, wearing masks? I can wear a mask. You can't wear a mask? What the fuck would you...
Well, I mean, a lot of these cities are just letting the rioters go wild and just making the cities overall a more dangerous place. So
it's scary, dude.
It's a combination of both. It's the COVID plus a lot of the rioting going on.
I had a dinner to go to last week, and the customer canceled, but I was like, fuck, I got to go into the city. What do I do? Do I drive? What do I do? Do I get an Uber? How does this fucking work now? You know, it's scary.
Yeah, it's sad. As much as I've loved the city my
Dude,
whole life.
One of the women I used to work with who, said to me, yeah, I went on a fucking date. I was home by 10 o'clock drunk. And she goes, usually I go out at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And now she goes, I'm not going out at fucking 10 o'clock. And she said, it's like the doormen are saying this is New York in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like when they still had the porn theaters on 42nd and Times Square. Drug addicts everywhere. She goes, it's like that now. I'm not saying that. She's telling me that's what the doormen and everybody else is saying in the city. Bro, that's scary shit, no?
It's for me, I think it's more sad than scary because I watched that city as a kid kind of turn itself around under Giuliani and become one of the safest big cities in the world, and to see all of that just crumble. So folks, can you imagine how bad the subways must be?
I'm older. You guys are younger. People who listen to the podcast are a lot younger than I am. And I will tell you, growing up, 15, 16, 17 years old, New York was like the forbidden zone. Nobody went. If you had a date or a girlfriend, they would be like, there's no fucking way you're taking my daughter into the city.
And you've pretty much always lived within 15 miles of Manhattan.
I grew up I was in Newark.
Right, and then even here where we are now, what are we, 15 miles away in this town?
Yeah.
So you've never really lived that far away.
No. And by the way, people are like, what's Newark? I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it on many podcasts, but if you grew up in Newark, New Jersey, Newark, our accent pronounces it as N-O-R-K, Newark.
How do you think they pronounce it in Delaware? Because there's a Newark, Delaware.
I think down in Delaware
they say Newark.
Newark.
Oh,
Newark. But in Newark, New Jersey, it's Newark. And by the way, if you guys can't tell, Juice and I have a serious, heavy fucking New Jersey accent. But my children, they have accents. I don't know where they fucking got it from. They say, they don't, you know what they say? You know what they call Florida?
Florida.
A lot of
people call it that.
And my daughter says, like, if you coffee, I'm like, what the fuck is coffee?
That's a hard Jersey accent.
Yeah,
to say,
it's coffee.
to say it like a claw.
It's coffee. And I'm like, I'm like, who's that scary vampire? Dracula. It begins with a G? How do you spell that?
Right.
Dracula. It's not Dracula. It's Dracula.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Like the driveway.
Right. Right. And what's that thing in front of your house? It's a street. A street? The fuck is a street? Do you mean street? That's how it's pronounced, street.
The one thing that annoys me, so like for example, there's a team,
You know what burns my ass? A flame about 4 feet high. But go ahead.
Yeah. So a lot of people
That wasn't funny?
on TV. Well, of course it's funny.
Okay.
Yeah. Goes right up there. They'll say, for example, the Seattle Seahawks. I would pronounce hawk like this, Hawk. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Let me hear.
But they'll say, I say Seahawk. On TV, they say Seahawk.
Really?
I hear that a lot. Yeah. On
Seahawks?
TV. Right. It's like they take
That's
the AW.
H-O-C-K.
Right.
Hawk.
It's like they take the AW and turn it into a O.
Hawk is H-O-C-K.
Right.
It's hawk.
That's what
Isn't
I hear.
it H-A-W-K?
It is.
Hawk.
Right. But a lot of people say hawks
Wow.
nationally. Yeah.
And another one my daughters do. They do like this. Hey, Dad, can I have a glass of water? I'm like, what's water? Do you mean water? No, water. W-A-D-E-R, water. We want some water. What the fuck is water? And when you call them on it, they're like, you're such an asshole. I don't know what Florida is. My aunt used to say...
I wonder what the locals call it. If you're
My
born and
aunt
raised
used
down
to have a really great Newark accent. She's gone now. She's in the happy hunting grounds, my poor Aunt Marie. She would say, it's really cold out. I'm like, what the fuck is cold? I mean, cold? It's pretty fucking cold.
Did she, by any chance, learn Italian prior to English?
She was Polish. I'm half Polish, half
Oh,
Italian.
and then on that side, got it.
Do you know what that means when you're half Polish and half Italian?
What does that mean?
It means you want to beat somebody up, but you can't remember who. Is that racist to tell that joke?
It's not racist if it's about yourself.
I don't buy that. You know what else I don't buy? This is probably going to lose every viewer out there. I don't think anybody should say the N-word. Anybody. For any reason. Anywhere.
No reason for it.
I have another house, and we vacation there, and there's people across the street who love to say that word.
Really? And
Oh, my God.
And what's their ethnicity?
Nah, I'm not going to go into that. Let's just say they love to sing music and everything, screaming it outside, and it's N-word, N-word, N-word. I find it fabulously offensive. I don't think if it's a bad word, no one should say it, and I think that would really help to tamp that down. No one should say that word. Am I wrong about that?
That's a tough one because
That's like when Italians say, hey, my fucking Guinea friend over here. That's offensive. You shouldn't say Guinea. Wop's okay.
I think both words are funny. Guinea wop. I think it's funny when you know what word used to piss off your brother? Dago.
Dago?
Dago.
What do you mean like when somebody would say, hey, Juice, how'd your day go?
Well, he had a friend that would do that to him. And
Hey, how's your day go?
That used to really set him off. Hey, Greg, how'd your
day go?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't say fucking day go.
He would warn him.
I don't even know what day go means.
He would warn him a couple times, and he would do it. He would do it.
Wait, Greg would do it?
No, the guy would do it to Greg.
And would Greg get hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden, fucking Greg. I have a great story about Greg and telling somebody I don't know, I'm just a dumb guinea from Newark. And the guy knew our family and goes, wait a minute. You didn't grow up in Newark, and aren't you half Polish? Well, maybe. But that's another story for another time.
Well, you also didn't do his Joe Pesci accent.
I think that's right. Greg. I don't think any racial epithet is good. I think they're all bad. I think they hurt everybody. And I think we're past that. Right? You know? I do.
Well, in this country, I don't care what you are as long as you're an American, you know?
Look, you need to be accepting of all races, creeds, colors, religions, all of them. You need to be accepting.
Well,
and if you're not...
Everyone should agree with that.
And if you're not, there's something fundamentally fucking wrong with you.
If you think one race is superior to any other race, that's
a problem.
It's a
That's
huge
a problem. That's the foundation of it. And you know what? I don't know. I think if you sit people down and actually talk to them, I don't think they're as racist as you think they are. But again, we're going to talk on things about like microaggressions and all these other things. You know, I don't think racism is. We talked about it earlier today. I think it's ethnocentric. People are all ethnocentric, and they need to get past that because everybody should be holding hands, loving each other, singing Kumbaya. Hey, I think that we're going to wrap it up for our podcast today. What do you think?
Yeah, we just went for an hour 45. I think that's a good amount of time for really just coming on here and just shooting
Juice,
shit.
are we gonna do a little playback? I like to listen for a few minutes.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
do you
So
think?
we're gonna call it a day. So we're gonna say goodbye to our one viewer out there.
Hey, thank you for listening. That one viewer, that one viewer. If you could, stick with us and help us grow, we're gonna, and down the road, we're gonna invite you as our number one listener, and there might be cash and prizes for you.
Stay with us. And as usual, did you have a thought there? I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
I did actually, Juice. We have a relative who used to squeeze my dad for money, and Juice would say, "Yeah, she's getting all cash and prizes from
Right.
your dad,"
Right.
which I thought was
Yeah.
I steal that all the time, cash and prizes.
She would get a mink coat here, $5,000 there, and in the meantime, I'm going to hang out.
hold on, a mink coat from my mom who went to the Happy Hunting Grounds.
In the meantime, I'm just while he was still alive.
That's how old we are. That like mink coats was the thing.
Right.
There's nobody wears a fucking mink coat
So
anymore.
I would go there and just have like a 6-pack with him and shoot the shit on a football Sunday. Maybe eat some macaroni if he was cooking, which he always was.
Wow, macaroni, boy, you're a real fucking game,
And
aren't
and one of my cousins would just essentially milk him out, just really see him to get cash and prizes.
you? I love that cash. I use it all the time. Cash and prizes.
She walked out with probably a good $15,000 of cash and prizes because it wasn't all cash.
No, she
a lot
got
of-
prizes
yeah.
too. She got prizes. She got like grandma's jewelry and
Right.
and her fucking mothy mink coat and all that stuff.
But
By the way,
God-
the divine Miss M refuses, and I gotta respect her for this. She will wear nothing fur. She will not wear fox,
she's
coyote.
she's a
rat.
woman of principle.
No, she is. She's a woman principal. Why she's with me, I don't fucking know.
She has no principles in some aspects, I guess.
Okay, I got you there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you on the next podcast.
Yeah, and as usual, check us out on YouTube, which is where you are now, obviously, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts.
See, that's why you pay an executive producer. He covers all of that shit. You gotta love that.
All right. Peace out,